Okay, let's go ahead and keep on moving with this, and let's add in some more detail. Well, we've already started to get the ears done, the nose thing is already there, mouth is going pretty good, but we need to work on a few more spots. Well, the next one we're going to take a look at is going to be fixing the eyes just a little bit. Now, unlike before, when we took a look at doing things with eyes, what we have here is something that's not quite the same. And what I mean by that is using something like Sculpt, we just kind of need to smooth this out just a little bit and then do just a nice and simple wide overview. Like just a nice simple open curvy section in here. The reason why is because once we add an eyeball in here, we can bulge the eyeballs out if we really wanted to, or by doing it through this method, we also, after we push it in and smooth it out, could even use grab to kind of pull in the different portions around the eye in order to feed into whatever kind of aesthetic we wanted to do for the monster. And in doing so, there's so many more options that we could create based on all of this. So I'm going to undo it for now because I just need this overall shape in here. But this is about the time that I'm ready to add in some new objects. So let's start with a simple one and actually do the eyes. So I'm going to come up here to create mesh, and we're going to choose sphere. When we add it in, it is pretty big. So on my object list up here, by choosing that, I can see here's the sphere. With it selected, I'm going to choose this, the select and move options down to the bottom left, scale, and I'm going to scale this in pretty well. After I do, I'm going to switch to the translate tool. I'll pull the eyeball outwards so I can see it, move it up. We're not doing a cyclops, so I'll move it over and back. So I'm going to put it somewhere about like this. Then at the same time, I'm going to right click up here, duplicate object, grab this one, and I'm just going to move it over to the other eye socket. Cool, so I got my eyes. Well, I don't want to do much with them now, so I'm going to click here into the object list just to add these little lock symbols. In doing so, no matter what, I cannot reselect the eyes. There's a few things I'll have to do in the future with them, but for now, I'm going to leave them just the way it is here. But with my other tools, low strength, big brush with grab, I can go ahead and just gently pull in around the eyebrows, my little chunks up here, and kind of fit my little zombie face as best as I can. Now, the bigger the brush, the more area you're going to grab at once. So you have to find this nice balance between the two. And if it helps, we can hit page down a time or two, just so we have fewer polygons to worry about, so it's a little bit easier to move. But the entire point of it right now is just kind of fitting the eyes in here how we want them to really sit. But the balance really comes down to the size of the brush versus area that you want to move. Now, the other kind of big thing to note is going to be kind of what effect we want overall. As you see, I'm actually grabbing more inward back here and not actually very much through here. And that's because as I'm pulling these portions down, it's still filling in the eye socket area, but it will give me even the ability to have just these little creases at the edge of the eyes. But once again, it's completely up to you what kind of effect you'd want yours to have through this method. What I'm doing is just what I want to see done with it, not necessarily what must be done. But once I'm happy, I'm going to come back to Sculpt and choose this stamp, and with a bit of a strength up, just kind of cut in like this, just at the inwards, or the outside and inside of the eyes, before I go back to grab, just to kind of help that crease show up from where the two eyes are kind of coming together. So I'm going to zoom out, and overall, pretty good. Making some good steps in progress. Other things just to kind of make sure of that the eyes aren't sticking into the nostril to be seen there. And technically you would also want to check for the ear for this kind of thing if you push it in too far. But because I didn't, I'm not too worried about that overall. Besides, it's a zombie. Who knows, maybe it is just a hole in the head. Okay. So far, so good. As I look at that reference image we had before, for much of this, this is kind of where we can stop for the basic sculpting side of things. Now, there are plenty of things we can do. If we wanted more of a deformed ear, then we could kind of come in with that same sculpt and kind of just cut it here and there just to add some extra effects. Which, you know what, I'll just go ahead and do just a little bit of. I'll make sure I'm at my highest level, and I can just kind of come in here and see what all I can actually do. But with the cut tool, I can add much more of an effect of quote-unquote battle damage. And kind of come in here, a little bit too much. Smaller strength with that same sculpt and stamp. Smaller strength, smaller brush, and kind of just harden up the edges in just some of these different spots. Just creating these kind of contours going around and connecting, similar to what we saw and did before. And by shoring up these edges like this, we're going to amount to a much more detailed and realistic model, as I kind of just follow the edges and work through these different spots that I was kind of creating already. Now, I'll do the exact opposite and kind of add more of an edge through here, but I will come on some parts of the lips between the gums and kind of just fix these edges just a little bit. It also lets me just add some initial details to this. As you see me just kind of go through here and add in some of these cuts, some of these just effects, just little details to kind of add in to these different places. Again, I'm not going to do too much, I just want to add a little bit of it, because as you can see, those little bits I put through there, to kind of rough up those edges, even if I smooth it out like this just a little bit, leave a good amount of detail. You know, the ears, I'm not fully happy with, but it'll be good enough. But let's go ahead and fix what we have here for the mouth. So, we did the eyes here. Great. Well, we're going to be adding a lot more objects, so we're going to do a couple things. First, I'm going to lock the head here on the object list. Create, mesh, and this time I'm going to go with, you know what, I'm going to go with the tree stump. And I'm going to do the tree stump just because it already has some of the right shape that I actually want to go for. And similar to what I did with the eyes, I scale it down, I move it roughly into place, continue to scale it in until I get it to be about what I want it to be. And the tree stump is going to go a pretty good ways into helping me build the teeth for this entire thing, because of the way that it's kind of coming off in these roots for the tree stump. It'll be a pretty easy way, and I'm also going to scale it inward about like this a little bit. Just to get it sized about right before sticking it in the mouth. And I have this kind of thing I can do with the roots on the tree stump becoming the roots inside the gums. Because I'm pretty sure these zombies aren't really caring about flossing. But once I do this, I can make more, move them into other places, use things like rotate, just so it's not quite the same for each one. But just duplicate again and again. Make some changes, anything from rotates to let's fix the scale a little bit. Maybe a little bit bigger tooth overall. And I'm just going to keep adding more of them on here. So I'm going to pause the video, and when we get back, I will have the mouth more or less filled with different teeth. So I went through and I added all the extra teeth, kind of got everything fixed the way I want. Now, my outliner over here, my object list, is filled with tree stumps. So I can choose them by choosing the first one, and I'll come down and choose them through this last one. And with that, I'm going to right-click and say Combine Selected Objects. This will help kind of keep everything together and help me just do a few different things. Well, first off, you'll see that things aren't, perfectly lined up in the mouth. If I look at it from the inside, I got more teeth here and there, and they're not, fitting quite the best. Which, that's fine at the moment, because I'm just going to add, first, a couple subdivision layers. I'm only going to take it to about a 3, because I don't need too many. But with tiny strength, in this case I'll go with about a 1, and a size brush of about a 1. Well, I can see that's definitely too much on there. So, I'm going to pull my strength to about a 0.2. Try again. Probably still a little much. Let's go 0.05. And I'll bring my brush size down to about a 0.75. Okay. And with that, I can kind of come through and just add some different details, some cuts in here, just so these teeth aren't seemingly perfectly all the same. Alright, cool. Well, back up here, I'll lock the tree stumps. unlock the head. And with grab, this is where I'm going to bring my strength down, brush size up, and I know I got all these teeth hidden in here. So with grab, I'm going to kind of just come through and pull these gums back and maneuver them around. Just so I can kind of reveal some more of these teeth that have been lost inside of the mouth. And I'm actually going to go to a little bit lower level just to make this a bit easier as I go through this process. Now, you'll note that my teeth, these ones are just kind of floating there, but the ones over here are not quite in the same spot. So I'm actually going to have to turn off my mirror, which is great and awful at the same time. It's great because I can do things that I need for these specific purposes, but it will make it so anything else I do with the mouth, I can't really use mirror on, because the two sides are no longer quite the same. But combinations of smooth, grab, and things like that will help me just to kind of get everything in place through here that I need to. So I'm going to go with this. I'll zoom out, turn off wireframe, increase my levels back up to the top, and that's about right. So it looks like I have somewhere between a Dracula monster and a zombie. But you know what? I think that's fine. But here's where things get a little bit different. I'm going to unlock everything, because the next couple things I do, I need things to be just different for each object. Specifically, I'm going to be going through and adding some new materials. So for the teeth, assign new, Mudbox material, program will think a bit, and I'll name it teeth underscore material. Base color, I'll go with a yellowy, whitish, kind of gross color. Okay. Two spheres, these are both eyeballs. Assign new to both of those. Eye material. I'll go mostly white, a little bit of red mixed in there. Just so I have some differences to see. Okay. Well, obviously, there's a lot that I still have to do, and the next thing is, you know what, I'm actually going to fix the lips a little bit more. So with the gums and everything, I got about what I wanted. It's not the best, but it gets everything I need done. So I'm actually going to continue working with some sculpt for now, just to kind of fix some of these areas. First off, I'm going to pull these gums back. Okay. I'll turn mirror on again, because now that I'm going to move up towards the lips, I should be pretty well okay. But I'll increase my strength. I'll just go ahead and set it to about a 70. Increase my brush size a bit. And all I'm going to do is kind of take the lips and pull them down a little bit closer. And I might have to fix them up a little bit. And I'm lagging just a bit, so I'm going to undo this quick. Go to a smaller page. And it's much better. And I'm going to just kind of fit the lips a little bit better towards the gums. Which will also give me just a little bit of a crease difference in there, just to help out these transitions between the two parts of this body. Okay. Good enough. So, similar to what I did towards the eyebrows and the ears, I need to go on and add some more details to this. Well, the next thing I can do... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and I will continue this in the next video.